Chris Chappell here. On this episode of China Uncensored, I thought I'd get out of New York City, come down to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, for one very important reason. There's another thing happening in D.C. today, a rally marking 17 years since the Chinese Communist Party began its brutal persecution of Falun Gong, a popular meditation practice. But like most people in the country right now, I'm finding it hard to stay focused on, oh man, is that a Pikachu? But 20 minutes later, my phone was almost out of battery, so I decided to do the next best thing. Check out this rally.
The House of Representatives has formally recognized the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners by the Communist Chinese regime. We have sent a message loud and clear to the Chinese Communist Party that we call on China to immediately stop its inhumane and unethical practice of organ harvesting.
So it's been a big year for Falun Gong. After a decade knowing that practitioners in China were being killed en masse for their organs, people are finally talking about it. What do you think of the organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners in China?
I had no idea until I talked to one of the gentlemen with it earlier.
I have never heard of Falun Gong in my life. I didn't know this was going on in China, so this has been like a real education thing, so I'm going to check out.
This is what happens when people aren't watching enough China Uncensored. But even if it isn't common knowledge, the tide is changing. Earlier this year, a documentary about organ harvesting, Human Harvest, wins a prestigious Peabody Award. Then, the U.S. House of Representatives passes a resolution condemning organ harvesting. Then, this report comes out. It contains 680 pages of evidence that the Chinese regime has been murdering prisoners of conscience for their organs, maybe even more than 1 million. And inside China, things have been changing as well. Because with all this international attention, guess who doesn't want to be blamed for persecuting Falun Gong? Chinese leader Xi Jinping. And Xi's whole anti-corruption campaign right now just happens to be targeting his political rivals, who just happen to be the people who followed former Chinese leader and mummified toad Jiang Zemin to persecute Falun Gong. So it's convenient that China's organ transplant official called out Jiang's former right-hand man and live-action thwomp, Zhou Yongkong, as the big tiger responsible for organ harvesting from prisoners, which of course makes Xi's people look blameless. And Xi's anti-corruption campaign has already arrested a huge number of officials, including more than 150 with the rank of vice minister or higher, many with ties to Jiang Zemin. Most recently, reports say that Jiang's son has been put under house arrest. And it looks like China's propaganda chief, who is Jiang's highest ally still in power, may be targeted next. And Xi's anti-corruption investigators just announced they were looking into the 610 office, the organization that Jiang created to persecute Falun Gong. It seems like Xi Jinping is truly out to catch them all. Do you think if you made this, held this rally at a Pokemon gym that a lot of people would show up? Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. See you next time. So everything is really tense, and there are a lot of guns. What could go wrong? Most indie game makers won't be able to survive. Instead, they'll get stomped on, like proverbial Goombas, by big corporations like Tencent and NetEase, companies with close ties to the government.